Did Lewis Hamilton truly win it all, the momentum and everything? Or doesn't Red Bull feel like they come out with a win considering they had to minimize the damage?
The answer to the question, very simply put, is yes. Lewis won the weekend. He won the pole and he won the race. The only thing he didn't win was the fastest lap, which went to Max, and 6-point swing in the championship back in Lewis's favor. But absolutely a moral victory for Red Bull. I had a feeling Max Verstappen would finish second. I didn't think he'd get up to second quite as quickly as he did. Phenomenal start for him. I wish he had been on the front row. It might have been a pretty good fight into turn one. But I want to take a look at the constructor standings for just a second as well, because I think that championship is equally as important in many respects to a lot of people involved in the sport. It was a 6-point swing for Mercedes in the drivers' championship today. Obviously, Lewis on 25 points, Max on 19, 18 plus 1 with the fastest lap. In the constructor standings, you had Sergio Perez finish fourth. So that's 12 points. 19 and 12 is 31. Lewis on 25, obviously Valtteri on 0 with his retirement. So it's a 6-point swing in Red Bull's favor for the Constructors' Championship. And right now, Lewis has an 8-point edge or an 8-point deficit, I guess, now to Max. He's cut the gap even more. Red Bull now are only 5 points back in the Constructors' standings to Mercedes. So that championship is actually closer right now than the Drivers' Championship even is. And both championships look like they could go right down to the wire at Abu Dhabi. And it's something that we haven't seen in so long. And I just really wish that Formula One fans all around the world, no matter who you root for or pull for on Grand Prix weekends, respect whoever comes out on top of both of these championships, because this has been a season to remember. As we've said several times in this program, we're going to look back on this year very, very fondly.
Alonso third place. How big of a shock was that for you?
Maybe a shock to newer Formula One fans who don't recognize or haven't gotten to see the greatness of Fernando Alonso. Of course, he's a double world champion, and I think that's something that's important to remember. And Alpine as well, race winners this year with Esteban Ocon. So I think when you factor those two things together, it was only a matter of time before they hit it off like this and got close to the podium, got an opportunity to get Fernando back up there. It's been far too long for a driver of his talents. He endured several tough seasons with McLaren, stepped away for a couple of years, and just kind of won Le Mans a couple of times. Had an opportunity to go win the Indianapolis 500 in 2017. Ironically, his McLaren Honda engine let him down again. But anybody who's followed Alonso's career knows that he is a generational talent and somebody that Formula One is very lucky to have back on the grid again and back where he belongs, sharing the podium with two of the greatest in Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. I wonder at the end of all of their careers how many world championships we're going to be able to say were represented by today's podium, because you got to think Max, even if he doesn't win it this year, he's got a couple in his future, and Lewis, 2 more years with Mercedes, who knows what's going to happen. But absolutely great to see Fernando back on the podium, and maybe a surprise that it happened this weekend and how much speed they showed, but certainly not a shock. I think you had to expect it was going to happen sooner or later.
The one retirement in today's race was Valtteri Bottas. And of course, we saw Lewis Hamilton asking, where's Valtteri? He knows he needs Valtteri there. Max Verstappen knows he needs Sergio Perez up there, not only for the constructors, but to manipulate the strategy. 2 versus 1, you could have one go out longer, the other one a shorter strategy. Really force the hand of that lone car. Which team's in the best position to help out their championship driver? Are you looking at Sergio Perez as being better equipped, or Valtteri Bottas?
If you asked me this after Turkey, when Bottas got his lone win of the year, and of course Sergio has a win this year as well in Baku, so they're level on that. I would have said Bottas hands down, but just the way Valtteri really his entire Mercedes career has gone. Like we've been saying, on his best day, he is close to, if not actually unbeatable. And on his worst day, he's outside the points and he's scrapping at the back end of it, whether it's his fault or not. So he just seems a little more hit or miss to me. The second Red Bull, you can say the same thing about that ever since 2019 as well. Although I think Sergio Perez has done the best of the three in being teammates with Max Verstappen. He has certainly had his weekend. This weekend in particular as well. He couldn't even get into Q3. He recovered brilliantly to come back and finish fourth. But both of them seem a little hit or miss to me. So I don't know that. It's very difficult for me to pick one of them hands down. But I'll just say this much: whoever's going to win this constructors championship, I think it's going to come down to the performance of a second driver just as much as it is the first. Obviously, the first drivers, Lewis and Max, are going to be fighting for the drivers' championship, but it is so important for both Valtteri and Sergio to be able to help their teammates, not just to win the drivers, but also to give Mercedes or Red Bull the edge on the constructors as well.
It's the Webber and Button complex, isn't it? When McLaren and Red Bull were fighting each other in 2010, both their drivers had a shot at the title, then it swung around and they just helped the others. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. But in this instance, I think actually Sergio Perez is more like Jenson Button and Mark Webber's more like Valtteri Bottas in that respect. It's very much a swing and roundabout thing.
It's back and forth between the two. One of them has a podium, the other one has a lousy race, and just seems to keep going back and forth. And we have a question from the chat room, and we'll start with Ben to answer. From Amber, who finishes ahead? I assume this is the points. Carlos Sainz or Charles Leclerc?
It's a good question. Fortunately, I've got the standings up here right now. I'm actually a little bit more interested. Looks like Lando Norris is 1 point ahead of Leclerc, so that's a close battle. You know, the fight may be over for McLaren in the constructors, but or all but over, at least. Obviously, mathematically, they still have a shot, but that's a very close battle. Sainz is looks like 6 again. These half points throwing me for a loop. 6.5 points behind Leclerc, so it's certainly very close. Could swing either way. I think just mathematically, I've got to give the edge to Leclerc. He's in a better position right now, and it's still Carlos's first year with Ferrari. I think he's done a very solid job, but Leclerc, I just think has more factors working in his favor. I think he'll retain the edge over Carlos Sainz in the point standings this year.